So my name is Tilde. So I've been working at the depot for about 3 years. I'm a Band 1 route setter. I also work at reception. I do some kids club, mostly the rock tots at the moment, so like the toddlers. I also do stripping shifts, so like taking the holds off and washing them.
When did you start climbing?
So I started climbing about 13, 14 years ago. It was like holiday clubs, and I was planning to do like loads of different sports every day. And then I went to climbing the Thursday and just loved it. So I just stayed there the whole week of the holiday, and then I just kept going. And also the holiday after, I was in charge of the kids club, like helping as an instructor. So everything went really fast, and I just loved it from the start.
When did you move over to the UK?
So I moved over about 5 years ago. So I was doing Erasmus, so like studying abroad. Went to Belfast in Northern Ireland first. Couldn't understand anything at the time, but then my English got better, and I just ended up saying, went to a few places and ended up in Sheffield.
Was it the climbing that brought you to Sheffield?
It was. Yeah, everyone was just like, oh, you should go to Sheffield, it's great, climbing is amazing, Peak District is just next door. So I moved to Sheffield, and on the same day I started the job here. So it's been a bit more than 3 years now.
When was it that you started route setting?
So route setting was a year and a half ago, almost 2 years I think now. I did like a workshop that was really good. It was like a workshop for beginner setters, so just like a kind of introduction, which was just for women setters. So it was meant to be kind of reassuring and just like super inclusive. It was really nice because we started really from the basics. You were not expected to know anything about setting, so it was really like, okay, we take everything from the start. It's like super chill, and then just getting to set a few boulders.
What's the route setting pathway like here at Depot?
So usually what we do is like we try to have a couple of stripping shifts before. So stripping when we take the holds off the wall, and like washing and everything. Just makes that you get more used to going up and down the ladder, carrying heavy things, and also getting used to like the organization of like all the screws, where the holds go, and it's just kind of the more like practical side of things. So then when you get onto the setting, you can just focus on like thinking about the setting and thinking about the sequence you want to set and the holds, and you don't have to like lose too much time on all the rest because you're just used to it.
What does a typical day of route setting look like for you?
Yeah, so route setting, so we get here in the morning, we've got all the holds which are ready because people wash them the day before. So we take everything out, put them in front of the area we're going to set first, tape off the area so we make sure only setters are in there. Depending on like what's available, or you look at the holds and you're like, oh, those holds look cool, I want to use them first, and then you find some on the wall, or look at what's available on the wall and find holds that match. So just kind of look at what you want to do, get inspired, and then just start setting. We do usually 1 or 2 areas first, have a break, a bit more setting, and after lunch we test everything. The testing is just going around all the routes we've done and doing some tweaking if needed. So for example, just changing a foothold, adding one, removing one. So just making it harder or easier to make sure it's in the grade that we're setting. So usually quite a big day.
What are some of the struggles you may have found personally with route setting?
So in terms of struggles, so I think, because I have type 1 diabetes, which is kind of a full-time job on its own already, it's like, I think getting into route setting was also a bit of a challenge, like personally related to diabetes, because obviously it's like a bit of a different routine. It's much more physical than being at reception. So for me it was also, how am I going to be able to like adapt all my like treatment and just like the food and everything to setting, so I don't have to stop too often because I go like low sugar, high sugar. So it was really like, how can I make it work and not getting diabetes in the way? It sometimes gets in the way. I can't really help this, which is quite frustrating because sometimes everyone is setting really good pace and then I'm like, oh no, I'm going low sugar, so I have to stop eating some sweets. I think overall I made it work. And the same, like everyone is understanding, like it's a disease, so I can't ignore it. So I think everyone is like really sound if I'm like, oh, I need 10 minutes and come back. So it's just being part of a team, like everyone needs to understand as well. And I think here it's been working really well.
Would you recommend climbing as a sport for someone with diabetes?
Yeah, definitely. Would recommend it to most people who can climb really, but Yeah, I think for diabetes it's good because with climbing, because for example you do like one route and then you stop, I found it's quite easy to like keep an eye, like really close, like checking of all the blood sugars, like for sport climbing, like one route and then I can check straight after, then belay someone and check again before I go on the route again. So for people who are a bit worried of the blood sugars going up and down, I think it's quite a good one because you can check really often what's happening. If you need to sit down for a bit because you're not feeling well, because it's quite sociable, as I was saying before, like you're not going to be bored, that if you're doing some of the sport you might just be sat on your own, that here just sit on the mat, chat with people for 10 minutes and you'd probably do it anyways. So it kind of goes well in the whole pattern.